I'm Anthony from the Culture Cave, and in this video, I'm finally going to be talking about Tenet. Now, before I start, I just want to say, this isn't going to be a video memeing on Christopher Nolan. I know it's very popular these days. I am a self-diagnosed Nolanite. I absolutely love the guy. I love the way he treats his audience with respect and doesn't give them every little detail. I love his commitment to not repeating himself. I mean, heck, I even love his accent.
And that's unusual in the interpretation.
But most of all, I love his obsession with time.
As far back as Memento, he had the plot running forwards and backwards simultaneously to eventually meet in the middle. In Inception, he explored the idea of entering people's dreams, in which the time moves slower. In Interstellar, he used real theories from physicist Kip Thorne to have time pass faster depending on the amount of gravity you were experiencing. In Dunkirk, he had 3 stories taking place over 3 different periods of time. One over an hour, one over a day, and one over a week. All of this is to say that Nolan has been intrigued by time. It seemed inevitable, therefore, that he would eventually make a time travel film, and spoiler alert, that's what we got with Tenet. Now, I genuinely think there is a lot to love in Tenet, and overall, I love the movie, but as you can tell from the name of this video, I had one major issue with it. So unless I make another video in the future about something else I didn't like about it, let's just say that if it isn't mentioned in this video, I liked it. For example, I loved Kenneth Branagh's performance as Sator, even if it was a little cliche, and I'm personally not a fan of not giving your main character a name. So now that I've mentioned those things, you don't need to assume that I like them, but I didn't mention the score, so you would need to assume that I liked it. Oh, hang on, actually, technically I just mentioned it? Damn. I suppose that means I need to tell you what I thought about it. I really liked it. It felt very Nolan, which is impressive considering it was composer Ludwig Göransson's first time working with the director. The highlight for me was the heartbeat-esque sound of Sator's theme, highlighting the importance of his pulse for later in the film. Okay, I'm not going to mention anything else, so just assume that I liked everything else. Obviously, except for the main topic of this video. Anyway, you get what I mean. There are a load of different types of time travel films. Deterministic, paradoxical, multiverse, to name a few. And I love them all. But for me, the better way to classify time travel movies is thus. Is it taking itself seriously or not? The reason I make this distinction is because if a film isn't taking itself seriously, it isn't trying to be consistent in its approach with time travel, and then you can just turn your brain off and enjoy the ride. Plot holes and all. However, if the movie presents itself as intellectual and serious, the viewer will inevitably pick holes in the tiniest of details. So for example, it doesn't matter that Back to the Future is a mess, with as many holes as a DeLorean gas tank. Actually, while we're here, it doesn't matter that Doc and Marty somehow overlook the existence of a DeLorean, which Doc brought back from 1888 when it comes to the solutions for the lack of gas. I mean, surely that DeLorean still has gas in the tank, which could have done away with the need for those mysterious coloured fire logs. Anyway, what the hell were those coloured fire logs? A Presto log was an artificial fuel for burning wood stoves developed in 1930s as a mean of recycling the sawdust from sawmills. They were made of clean, dry sawdust, wood shavings, and green waste that is formed into logs by machines under great pressure. Dr. Emmett Brown developed his own Presto log sometimes in 1885. The more you know. Anyway, the point is we let Back to the Future away with more than we do with a film like Tenet, as the latter is very much trying to present a more intellectual and consistent version of time travel. But what type of time travel? So what does the system of time travel in Tenet look like? Well, quite simply, people and objects can have their entropy inverted by going through turnstiles which cause them to travel backwards in time. Cool idea for sure. It seems plausible on the face of it. I mean, I was definitely going with Clements Posey's explanation for at least the first half of it, but there was just something about it which just didn't sit right with me. The bullet moves backwards out of the wall and into the gun. What? And it wasn't until I reflected on it that it hit me. It just doesn't make any bloody sense. I'm going to focus on one moment in particular, which in my opinion is the card which brings the whole tower down. Before I do, however, I know there are physicists out there who have analysed the ideas in this film and talked about how they are plausible, but I feel they're referencing the big ideas and not the details, because man, when you look at the details, It really just doesn't add up. The moment I'm going to focus on is the moment at the beginning of the film during the opera siege, in which an inverted bad guy shoots a gun and a bullet flies out of a staircase and gets lodged into his gun. Now, bearing in mind at this stage, we really had no idea what was going on. It would have been very easy to overlook a key detail, but on a rewatch, it is hard to miss. How did the bullet get in the staircase? I mean, sure, it was shot into it while the shooter was going back in time because he was inverted. But let's view it from the forward direction in time. In the normal passage of time, how did the bullet get in the wall? Did someone come into the auditorium that morning under cover of darkness and place it in the wall thinking, this'll come in handy later? Was it put in there when the builders were pouring the concrete? In the forward direction of time, when the hell did this bullet appear in the staircase?
Let me explain it in a different way. But first, I've got to clean up my Dungeons & Dragons from March 2020. Jeez, COVID has lasted a long time, hasn't it? Okay, so let's say there's an inverted pool ball. So when I go to hit nothing, the pool ball will come to the cue. Interesting. My question to you is, though, how did the pool ball get in the pocket?
Well, you invert yourself and the pool ball.
And then it all just goes backwards. But again, how did the ball get in the pocket? If we look at it from the forward direction of time, that ball already had to be in the pocket. Did someone come earlier in the day and place the ball in the pocket while inverted? Or did the ball just appear in the pocket? Magically. If the ball does randomly appear in the pocket, when would it appear in the pocket?
Would it appear when the shooter or the pool player goes through the turnstile? Perhaps that is when time is deciding what's going to need to happen to make everything work. And maybe the ball or the bullet just appears in the wall or the pocket. That would be an interesting idea. But no, that can't be, because in the Freeport fight scene, the protagonist looks at the bullet holes in the glass before his inverted self comes through the turnstile. So the bullet holes must already have been there. That means that the people who manufactured the glass put in bullet holes and scattered some broken glass in the next room, with the knowledge that an inverted bullet would flow backwards through the holes, fixing them one day. Now, don't get me wrong. I give credit to Nolan for making a film with a different take on time travel. But for me, if you're gonna do it, it should be done right. And I'm sorry to say that the idea, in my opinion, was ill-conceived from the get-go. They didn't pay any attention to the ramifications of having inverted bullets popping out of walls all over the shop. A way of improving this would be to have only people be able to be inverted, not objects. But then you still have the issue with like a footprint in the sand. Like, was the footprint in the sand there for the entirety of Earth's existence until the moment it was removed because someone steps there when they're inverted? Was there signs of healing within the protagonist's arm from birth, and then it reversed the healing process his whole life slowly until it opened up on the way to Freeport whilst inverted? There are so many questions I could go on forever. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Do you like Tenet, despite the very clear and obvious issues with the time travel? I'd love to know. I personally do like the film, but there is this issue with it. For now, though, I think I'll leave it there.
If you're new around here, it'd be great for you to hit the subscribe button and give this video a like. We'd love to have you around. We've got lots of great content on the channel. Why not check it out? Right, now, I've got to go and do this video again in reverse.